Also going live on Facebook. Okay.
Umar, you have a question?
Yes, sir.
It's
Yes, sir.
very start. Wait a minute, Umar. Let us go
Sir,
go live on Facebook. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
that so everyone
I
would
do
able
not
to.
have a. I do not have a question. I just need a favor from Sir Zia. I have already texted him. It's regarding my, I guess, career. So I just request to look into it, and I mean, if he could help me out, I'll be obliged. I'll be obliged.
We do not discuss other items other than the class material.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
But I just wanted to know that if you could help me out regarding
I don't know what you are talking about, but right now we are in the middle of a class. We'll discuss it later.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, fine. Umar, we have a Discord group. So I'm sharing the Discord link with you. So you can, if you have some problem, you can please discuss with me personally. Send me a message over the Discord. So I'll see and
Sir,
check.
Inam sir, I do not have your number. I have Sir Qasim's number. I'll text it to him, and maybe you'll get it. You'll get the my query from.
If you have already shared with Kashan number, he will immediately provide us or forward us your message to us. So don't worry. Okay.
Okay, sir. Oh, thank you very much.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. So, sir, so we are live and the recording has been started. So you can please.
What we are going to do in today's class is basically we are going to revise GraphQL because some students, we also thought that most students did not understand it thoroughly, how to develop GraphQL APIs and do Hello World for that. So therefore, we are going to do that. Let's start. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
Let me share my screen. Now we are covering step number 3.
Okay, sir.
What we are going to do is, so that everybody understands it, and what we'll do is create a project from scratch. Anish, therefore, I think it was my mistake. I should not have shared my screen. Yours, we should have asked you to share your screen.
Yes, sir, that could be great. Let me share my screen. So, for our participant, I want to request you all to please try to follow me under the great supervision of Sir Zia, and I'll share the links and the required things, everything to you. So you can follow me as and when required. So first thing, I'm going to share my screen, and the first link, I guess you need to install the Postman. Sir, correct me if I'm going wrong sometime. So,
yes, you have to. Yes, in the meanwhile, before we start developing, you guys basically define the basically log into Postman and also download the Postman app and install it on your PC.
So while we were developing the server, our application that we will call using the GraphQL. So when we were trying to develop a application, you can either install this thing or either its web version. So it requires some sign up type of thing. So you can go and get sign up. Okay. The last thing, sorry, the second thing is that we are going to step 3. This would be our actually next step. Before step 3, we will also make a simple application. So, but for the reference, I'm also sharing you step required after or during this class. And there is a sample code which we are going to use. Sir, do we need to share these sample codes immediately?
No,
or
that's not required. That's not required.
Okay. So later on, if you will, if you will need, we will share the sample code. Okay.
Oh.
So now the first thing, what I am going to do, I am going to stop sharing. I'm sharing my full desktop for some time. Okay. So I hope you are able to see my screen. So
let's make a directory for the project.
Sir. So
let's say hello GraphQL.
Sir, actually, as I'm cloning the repository.
No, we don't need that.
We don't need the. Okay, fine.
No.
So we will start from scratch. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I am creating a directory mkdir, and it would be hello GraphQL. Sir, is it right?
You're perfect.
Okay.
Now, what we want to do is basically initialize it with CDK code. Show me what is your CDK version, because every time we start, I always ask people to check their CDK version. CDK -1, yes. It's 119. This is not the latest one. So the best thing is always start with the latest one. Therefore, say npm install aws-cdk aws-cdk -g.
Okay, guys. Hopefully, everyone is following these steps, and I will request to copy somewhere. For example, make a text editor, at least whatever text editor you find. For example, Notepad++ on Windows. Notepad++ is my favorite text editor, but as I'm using Linux, so my text editor is not Notepad++ because it's not available for Linux. So what I created a directory and I check the version. This is my second step. In the third step, I did npm start. Why I'm making this third step? Because I want to update my CDK.
Because, and you understand, 1.119, the latest CDK is 1.21. Now it's updated. So, yes, okay. Now you have the latest version. Now we will CDK init it, go to the subdirectory which you have created. CDK init. No, not dash, just init.
Sorry. one extra dash. So this is,
No, not even a single dash, just CDK in it.
sorry. So this is our next step. And as you can see that this is our third step.
Now we want to.
Okay. So I hope that everyone is following these steps.
I think what I did not tell you is CDK init is list the directory ls. There's nothing in it. It has not been initialized. What we want to basically tell it is that we want to develop a template. I think we did not specify app. So therefore, just say CDK init app. -- language TypeScript.
Language. I hope that this will work good.
Yes, it is working.
Okay. So this is our, while this process is going to be working, if is there anyone having problem and want to understand certain things, please. Okay. Please remember that this $sign represents a command prompt which is related to the Linux. Maybe when you are dealing with your Windows, you will find command prompt like that. Okay, all done. Now there is a lot of file exists. Sir, so what we are going to do next?
Open the directory in Visual Studio Code and explore it.
Okay, this is fine. Close window. Okay, so I hope everyone is following us. So as you can see, there's a lot of things exist here already.
Now let's go to the lib section.
There is a file.
There's a file, and you will add your code. You will add your constructs here, which will create the infrastructure.
Okay, so this is our actually constructor code.
Infrastructure code, sorry.
Yeah.
So therefore, after the comment that we will start writing code here.
Okay.
The first thing we need to do is we need to create constructs. Let's say go to the lib.
Do I need to write something here?
No. I'm just going to tell you step by step.
Okay.
The first thing what we need to do is, let's create a AppSync API construct.
Okay.
So therefore, first of all, in order to do that, what we have to do is install AppSync. What do we have to do?
On command line.
Yes, npm install @aws-cdk/aws-appsync.
Okay, sir. So I lost the pace. So AWS dash
CDK
CDK
/AWS
/AWS
-appsync.
dash app.
Now this will install the component. In version 2, you will not have to install all the components, but right now in version 1, every installation is you have to install every component separately.
Okay. So this is our next step. That we are adding AWS AppSync. Sir,
we have to install also another.
Which one is this, sir?
At AWS-CDK/AWS-appsync. Just replace Lambda with AppSync in the last command.
Okay.
I think, could you AWS LAMBDA? It should be, yes, working. Okay.
Okay.
Now
So,
both of them are installed. Let's go back to the Visual Studio Code.
okay, I'm again in the code of Visual Studio Code. So now, after installing,
what we have to do is we have to import two packages. The ones which we have used right now.
okay. So we have to install. We have to now import everything from AppSync.
No. Yes. Yes.
Is this good enough?
Yes, you have. Also import Lambda. We'll do import Lambda later on.
Okay, fine.
I think you misspelled AppSync as AppSync because it will create problems later. Please put a second P in it.
Do I need to remove this?
No, just put the spelling mistake APP. It will work, but better to have.
Yeah, I got sense.
Now what we have to do is we have to create a construct. What is an Now this construct basically.
Sir, before starting the construct, can you brief about the usage of AppSync? What we are going to do with our AppSync?
Yes, what we are to do is basically we are going to create a new kind of API which is called a GraphQL API. In a GraphQL API, the first thing you have to do is create a schema. Remember in the last class we discussed it? We are going to discuss it again. But
yes,
at this stage, what we are going to do is create a directory. In the root directory, create a GraphQL directory.
Okay. Do we need to write here in hello world?
No, not. We are going to do it later on. First, create a directory here.
In the hello world. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Not in the right now. You are creating it in the lib directory, not in the lib directory.
Sorry. I hope naming convention is right.
No, just you can do it also in lowercase, all of them in lowercase.
Okay.
Now we are going to create a file called schema.gql. In the schema, as we discussed in the last class, everything starts with a query. The root query, there are two types of root queries. One is the simply query. The other one is mutation. Therefore, there is a special. You can create any type. For example, you can create a user. You can create anything type which has properties. But there are two special types. Which one is query. The other one is mutation. Mutation updates the database. Query just queries the database. Therefore, we are defining a type query. Just write type query.
Do I need to start a curly bracket?
No, you didn't write type.
Sorry.
Type and with a big Q. Yes. Now this is a type of query. There can be unlimited types of query, but there are two special kinds of queries.
Okay.
One is this type which with the name query, and the other one is mutation. We are going to talk about mutation later on, not in today's class. In today's class, we are only going to talk about query and special type. Of course, you can create another type also. Please say type in the next line.
Under this hierarchy or out
No,
of this?
not in this query. Separate thing. I'm just telling you that the user. Type user. Now this type you are defining, this is a custom type. This is not predefined by GraphQL. So therefore, just remove this. I will just give you an example that you can also define your custom types. So therefore, this is a query type. Remove this user type.
Okay.
Therefore,
So,
you can also define any of your custom type which you can use in the queries. But right now, we are not going to use that.
So, sir, what we are going to do here, we are actually defining that how our server we are going to design would be provide the endpoints. So other applications or the front-end application could consume the services of our server. Am I right?
Yes. Otherwise,
Okay.
how will we know that what will be the query and what will be going to the server and what will be coming out?
So
Now,
yes, sir.
now what we want to do is just say nodes colon. This is the name of the query.
Nodes.
Nodes.
Sorry, nodes.
No, not nodes. Nodes with a
Nodes.
small n, because it is not a type.
Nodes.
It is the name of the query, and it will return an array of strings. So therefore, just
Array of sir, what? Array of
string.
string. So just we need to type something like this.
Yes, and inside that square bracket, just say string. This is a schema definition language with a big S.
String. So, sir, can we provide comment over here?
Of course, if you want.
Okay. So what we are going the nodes.
Nodes will return a string array of strings. If anyone has any questions, anytime, please feel free to ask me. Now,
I guess. Let me check some text message. Okay. We just start and try to create a server application that would be called by some other application. We are just starting. So in the starting phase, we were trying the what endpoint or what API would be available from our server for the other app. And the first thing is a nodes. Nodes will return an array of string. Sir, what would be the next thing?
yes. Now let's move forward. And basically, we are going to add a construct which will load the API.
Okay. I'm quitting from here and just try to type a construct.
Yes. No, not here. In the constructs, in that other file.
I get this one.
Yes. Now I've already sent you the code on the chat window. As you can see, constant,
Okay.
we define a constant called API.
Wait a minute, sir. Let me add here.
Because this is a lot of typing, it will take us too long. Therefore, I've sent the second last message. Yes.
Yes, sir. The location is right. It should be under our export class constructor or out from this.
Yes. And Anish, what's happening is that you have on the left most side in Visual Studio Code, you have clicked the extensions directory. Just click the first one so that we have all the list of all the files available.
Fine, sir. So actually, what I did, I tried to install the extension that could use to make this things some color notation.
Yes.
That's it. So this is a good thing that you can also install GQL extension available in the Visual Studio Code. Okay, sir. So again, I am a new constant, I guess, is an API, and in this API, we have stated the name is a CDK API, and there is a schema. Okay.
Now try to figure out what this API call is.
So let me make a bit indenting so students could understand this well. Okay. This is the hierarchy. Schema app constructor. Okay, this is. So I suppose that this is working nice.
What it's basically saying is, first of all, as you remember, in every CDK construct, you pass in a this and a name first, and then the properties of that constructor. Saying is,
but the main thing is that we call it, I guess, ID. If you will go and find out its documentation,
yes,
that would be treated as an ID, and the parent. I couldn't remember what is the name of this.
The scope.
Yeah, scope. Sorry, scope and the ID. And this scope and this ID, we have certain things like the name, which is a CDK API, and the schema is the app sync schema from asset. And this is the schema file. I'm actually hearing my own voice back, so let me check. I'll request everyone, so please mute yourself. Otherwise, I would be I would be getting my voice again back, and it would be cause trouble when you will be watching this video on the YouTube. Okay.
Okay.
So I guess that's everything is self-explanatory. If anyone has any anything related to this code, please speak up. You can unmute yourself and could speak, or you can also write anything in your chat.
Okay. Basically, let me revise it a little bit. The properties is the name. First thing is the name. Then you specify where you can find the schema, which we have already created, which is Graphql/schema.gpq. This one. And
yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Right at this stage, remove custom nodes so that we have only one. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible so that everybody understands. Now, what we are saying is that secure this API with the API key, and the duration of the API key is 365 days. And this X-ray enabled basically says that this X-ray is basically a debugging tool and a logging tool provided by AWS. Yes, Umar, you are asking?
Yes, sir, I am following you in my line of code. third or fourth last line expires. The expired, there is a red underline and it says that expiration undefined.
Because
Otherwise,
you have not installed one thing, which is the CDK core.
okay.
So
CDK,
as we have installed AppSync and GraphQL, you have to also install AWS CDK/core.
AWS. ठीक है.
Anyone following us and facing any problem, please let us know.
Let's move forward.
Okay.
Now, there's a second thing. What we have to do is print out what will be the API URL and the API key. The problem is that this is a tree with children and parents and children. In order to get the API URL and the API key, you have to basically use CDK to print it. You cannot use just console.println. If you say console.println, it will not print anything.
Okay, so Sir Zia already shared the code on a chat. So, sir, where we are going to add this code, the GraphQL schema or our
after yes, not in the schema. This is the C# here.
okay.
After you have added the construct.
Construct is going to be, and let me check.
After the API construct.
Okay. API construct has this finished, and I'm going to use CDK, and
I think you have now printing it outside the constructor.
okay.
Umar, I think you have not installed CDK in the first place. You are not following it from the very beginning. You are not following us from the previous class. We already covered 2 classes of this.
No, sir, I followed it. I followed it by watching your recording, and I did it. However, it isn't working. I have already deployed on AWS as well.
The thing is, if you, Anish, go to the top of your screen. Go to the top of your screen.
You actually write code, I guess, rather than core.
You don't have to
install code.
You don't have to install core. It comes with the CDK. When you install, when you create a CDK in it,
yeah,
I got it.
automatically does it.
Yeah, sir. Actually, Umair done a mistake. Rather than installing AWS-CDK core, he's tried to install code, CODE. The Visual Studio Code is a different thing, but actually you have to install core, CORE.
You don't have to install it. It comes installed directly with the, when you give the init command.
Okay.
Now, these two, Anish, go down. Because if I talk in 2 threads, one to Umair and one to you, Anish, it will get complicated. I don't want to do that.
So let's focus, sir.
Yeah, let's focus
Okay,
here. Now, what is this doing? You are saying CDK, CNF output, CFN output, and basically you are outputting from API, you are outputting the GraphQL URL.
Okay.
Now we also want to print the API key, which you copy from there, and that will be the third construct.
Okay.
It's in the comment section.
So
What we have to do is exactly the same thing as before, except we are saying yes. Now we have printed out both the keys so that we can know how to basically now let's write the Lambda function code. Let's create a directory called Lambda inside your root directory.
Lambda. Okay, sir. So the Lambda had been installed, and what we are going to add as
Yes.
a new file?
Index.ts. This is a Lambda function which will execute on the server.
Okay.
Now, in that function, what we need to do is write a Lambda function, but we have to define a first type in C# in TypeScript so that we can receive the code.
So I guess we need to install something.
No, we don't need to install anything.
First, if somebody is joining and starting this thing first, he has to install certain things in form of TypeScript.
Now, what we have to do is
we will go to the. Okay, sir. Did you share something in the chat
what
window?
we have to do is basically install Lambda. You're right. We have to install AWS Lambda. I forgot about that. Or we have already, I think we have already done it. We just have to import it in the main library.
Okay. So sir, I guess you send me some code again.
Yes, I have already sent you some code. Just paste it in this index.ts. And I'm going to explain it to you guys. Because it's too much code, otherwise it takes 2 hours to write all this code.
Okay. Sir, again, we are adding type here. We are not going to add type in the schema.gql.
That was a schema definition language. Here we are using TypeScript.
Okay.
This is a TypeScript file. This is not a schema definition file. In the schema definition file, basically you are saying is you are exporting a handler which will be called by AWS. And you will receive an event of type AppSync event. An app sync event will have object called info, and in the object called info there will be two fields, field name and info, and argument will be the title. You're just defining the type so that you can use the types. This is not a requirement to define an app sync event, but we are defining it so that we can use. Yes. Now let's.
Sir, do we need to import anything?
Yes, we are. We don't have to code anything. I'm just explaining the code. That's thing. First thing is because we are just defining an array. Now we are just in our query, we just have one query. So therefore, in the switch statement, just say return nodes array and just remove the second case, which is custom node. Yes. So therefore, it will just, when we get this event, what will we do? If the name of the field name is nodes, we will return this array.
So, sir, what would be the app sync role here? The app sync on the behalf of AWS would try to connect this thing for our endpoint, this type of things?
Yes. What app sync is doing is basically receiving the GraphQL query and calling this Lambda functions. And we are going to connect this right now.
Okay. So first, the app sync would check this.
Yes.
Okay.
We are going to do it later on. The thing is, we have to check later on because app sync will check, match this. Now, what we have to do is go back to the library function, the constructs, and we have to connect the API to Lambda functions. But first, we have to create the Lambda function. We have already created the Lambda functions, but the constructs are not aware. AWS is not aware that you have created a Lambda function. How do you do that? That's another construct.
Do we need to create another construct? Okay.
Yes, a Lambda function construct which connects, which basically inputs the file we have just created of a Lambda function. I just send you on the chat.
Okay. So I'm adding it here.
Yes.
And I'll press, as you said, Control plus K or Control plus F. Control plus K, Control F. No, wait a minute.
You have to go up and import it.
Control F.
You can also do it in Visual Studio, but people get confused. I'm not doing it through Visual Studio. Just go up on the top of the file. Because right now you have, say, you have not imported it. Import star as Lambda from
Good enough.
good enough. Now go back to the Lambda code.
So this is our code. This is the second line, and this is the third line, and this is the fourth line. And that's it. Okay, sir. So in the construct Lambda function, we have a new Lambda function, which is start from the this and the Lambda function, and the runtime is a Node.js. We are stating a Node.js server. When our Lambda function, when the AWS will start executing this, it will create a Lambda function, and it will start a virtual machine, which would have Node.js version 2 or version 12 with any subversion.
Yes.
And the
It will
code will be available in the Lambda directory, and the main thing that will be executed in the Lambda directory would be index.handler, and the timeout would be 10 seconds.
Yes, this is a timeout section. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Now we have to find some way of telling API that the GraphQL API that when you receive a message, please call this Lambda function. How do you do that?
So we have to create something as an index handler, as this code stated.
We have already created this index handler.
Okay.
Remember, you go to the Lambda directory.
Yeah, index.ts.
Yes, you have created that. The name of the function is handler. You have already created this.
Okay, and there is the note array, the note 1, note 2, and note 3. Okay, so when that function would be called, it will return the note array that will contain 3 elements, 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
And we are again here.
But the problem is, in the constructs, we have not told GraphQL to call this Lambda function.
Yeah.
So therefore, I've sent you the code, write another construct, basically, which is telling the API that this Lambda force is the source. Now we have defined the data source.
Okay. The Lambda data source is a Lambda function, and this is our Lambda function. So now the dots are connecting each other. There is a Lambda data source, and that data source has actually a Lambda function, and this is our Lambda function. That Lambda function says that create a new Lambda function. We should remember that the function is a keyword because there is a capital, so it means it's referencing some available class library. And in that Lambda function, we are specifying that what would be our virtual machine instance. Therefore, the virtual machine, we will be running the Node.js 12. I believe that everybody will aware about the Docker and the Docker images. So for AWS, it is very easier that the AWS will get a Docker image of Node.js 12 with any subversion and use it in our virtual machine, and then we will go from the code and handler and the timeout.
Exactly. Now, what we want to do is we have to write a resolver. It is calling the Lambda function, but it doesn't know where will I pass the variable name. When we receive the query, how will I pass it? So therefore, I have send you a resolver code. This is the last step. We have to basically create a resolver.
Did I miss some code, I guess?
No.
No. So these Lambda source doesn't have any constructor type of thing?
Right? No. You don't need that.
Okay. And we will write this thing here. Okay.
Yes. I'm a bit surprised. Why is it giving error? Underline.
Maybe it's outside of. Yeah, this is no. This is inside. Notes.
Whenever there is an error, I always think this is my error, but it is not. This is a compiler error, not a compiler error. We are doing something wrong.
Let's see what's the error say.
So it should be placed above. It should be placed beneath cost lambda underscore data underscore source. Right now it is out of scope lambda underscore data underscore.
I think you are putting it outside the constructor.
Okay, which constructor? This one.
Last curly bracket.
Yeah.
Before.
This is fine. So I hope everything is fine now.
Now you understand what. Now let's, Anish, you are going to explain to me what we have written so far from the very beginning. And I'm going to ask you questions, and I'm going to ask the students questions.
Okay, fine. So I'll start. Everything is written. So I guess the basic thing which I start understanding is from the last thing. The last thing says the lambda data source is a lambda function, and also says that the lambda data source is a create resolver which has a query and field name is a node. So I believe that this query and this node are going to connect this constructor and this class with our schema, which is a query and the node. So using
Omar, please mute your mic. Your background sound is coming. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the schema now has been connected with our lambda, but then another thing is start. This is I've already explained that this is the thing that AWS is going to use. It will create a virtual instance with the Node.js server already installed using this handler and this lambda. This index.handler we have also already created in the start, which is written over here that the export handler, this is our handler, which says that if the event will occur, the app sync event, what it will do, it will, if the event info field name, the event would contain field name as a node, so it will return array, the nodes array, and definitely the nodes array is this. Otherwise, if field name is something else, we didn't implemented that logic, we will just return null. That's it. So this index.handler actually connecting from here. So the index means the index file, the index.ts, which will be converted into index.js, and the handler is the function, this one, that says that how when this server API would call, how and what it's going to do. So what it will do, the server will start with the Node.js 12.x code, and the code will be transferred from our code repository from Lambda directory. The from asset means Lambda. Lambda is the asset directory here. We have created an asset directory in the Lambda and says that there is a library, or sorry, there is a directory which is called Lambda, and in the Lambda there is an index file, which is we have already mentioned, discussed, and in the index file there is a main function, it is a handler. So we can see there is a handler exists. So till here everything is connected with each other.
Yes.
The query, the nodes, and everything. Now if you go to the output, this is the output we are going to produce. For example, the API key, graph URL, these are the things we are going to be produce output when we will call this code. then move back again. This is our GraphQL API, which says that from schema.GQL, understand the schema, okay, and then there is some authorization, for example, API key and how much time it will be contained. So our API key and API authorization and the security would be enforced from here. And these are the constructor which are going to be used, nothing else. So in my understanding, this is what I have understand from these code.
Perfectly. Well, I'm going to revise it again, but before I revise it, let's compile it. Let's say, go to the command prompt and say npm run build.
So somebody asked, is it compulsory to write a resolver function for every data element in the query type?
Yes, yes. For every query, you have to write a resolver of mutation.
Okay. So I'm starting a terminal right here, and I said TSC. TSC would be enough, sir?
No, npm run build. It will run the TSC itself.
Okay, it's writing. It's running TSC, and everything is done. Okay.
Yes.
So build without any error.
Yes. Now let's deploy it. CDK deploy.
CDK DPOY. So do I need to
Yes, yes.
ignore that or check that what is going to
No, say yes. Why?
Why?
Now it is creating a CloudFront template and uploading it to the AWS servers. A cloud, so not a CloudFront, but a CloudFormation template.
Something happening wrong. Access denied exception.
Where is it saying that?
Create fail. The access denied. Okay. Some permission issues, I guess. Failed to assume service link role AWS, Amazon.
I think, Anish, you have changed the account on the location from last week?
Not, sir.
Because maybe you have not created the Bootstrap, because you have to do once Bootstrap. Just maybe let's do it again. Just say CDK Bootstrap. You don't have to do it again and again, but
Bootstrap is working fine.
yes, Bootstrap is working fine. It's already there. In US East one, you have, now let's deploy it again.
Maybe they suspend my account.
You don't have to write CDK bootstrap again and again. You have to do it once in your which data center you are using. In the meanwhile, why don't you log into your AWS account and see if there's some problem? Maybe there's some message there.
Sorry, sir. I got disconnected.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sharing, I guess, my screen. While it's let me please sign in. I guess
It's working.
not yet.
It's not completed yet. Let's hope it works.
It's on 7-11. Schema creation status failed with the details. Failed to parse schema document. So there is something wrong in the schema document. It says.
Okay, let's go back and see it. There doesn't seem to be any problem with the schema.
Maybe this could be the reason. Query, the capital Q,
Yes.
no, and string.
Yes. Do it again.
Actually, I guess the TSC
The TSC doesn't touch schema file.
schema file. So maybe there is a tool that also validate the schema.gql.
It does because you can define a GraphQL. You have already installed that.
But it doesn't say any sort of error at this type of thing.
Yeah. In the meanwhile, have you installed Postman app on your machine?
Yes, sir. I have installed Postman app on my machine. Let me start. Ring. Postman. चल जाओ Postman. Now, sir, I guess it's reaching to step 11 and 10, not causing any error. So I guess, sir, is complete successfully. Hello.
Yes, Anish. Is it
Okay,
working?
sir. Yeah, it's working.
Now it's
I guess
perfect.
that graph GQL doesn't support comment like I mentioned.
Yes. Therefore, you have to, Hamza is saying that you have to give the number sign and then give the comments in GraphQL schema language.
Okay.
Now, as you can
we
see,
want to say this type of thing. Okay. But I'm not going to compile again, just for keeping in loop. So, okay, sir. So,
now you
this
have
is
the
graph UL created by AWS. Okay.
yes. Now you have a URL and you have the GraphQL API key.
Okay. So there are two things. One is the stack API GraphQL, and one is the GraphQL API key.
Yes.
The key, and this is a URL. So, do I need to share my Postman screen?
Yes.
Okay. This is my work. Do I need to create something new?
Yes. What we need to do is create a new workspace. Everybody has to sign in to Postman and install machine on this.
Right. So now I am in a workspace.
Yes. The first thing we have to do is define an API.
Okay.
So what will be the API? Go to the second tab on the left. Not on the top, on the left.
Yeah. Create an API.
Yes. Give it a name. And the schema type, select GraphQL. So you don't have to select this. GraphQL HDL is good enough.
Okay. Do we need to specify any version?
Just say 1 or anything.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now you have created it. Now define in this thing. Don't change the first part, schema, quotation mark, open, close.
Yeah.
Instead of user, copy or paste your own schema here.
Okay. Is this fine? Do I need to remove something?
Yes, remove all the.
Okay.
We have not defined a mutation, so therefore also remove mutation in
Okay,
the
sir,
schema type.
Remove.
And the third line.
This one. Okay. The schema is a query which is run this query. Now it makes sense and connecting each other. That's fine. Good enough.
Yes.
Do I need to save now?
Save it. Save it.
Okay, this is saved.
Now we have created a schema and told Postman that here it will be defined. Now on the right side, there is a button on the top, generate collection. We are going to now create tests. Not here, on the top right. Just before this, generate collection.
From the right side.
On the right side, yes. Just before the edit screen. Just on top of the edit screen, not on the top yet. Go to the left. No, not on the tab. There is a button which has generate collection written on it.
Sir, why I am unable to see that? Develop, test, observe.
Go to the right. Go at little bottom. You are seeing everything, but except for that button. This. You just clicked on it. Left on the little bit left. Now,
Okay, sir.
Name your collection.
Nodes would be enough.
Yeah, of course. And just say test the API.
The collection generated.
Now it is must have created the collections.
So
now go to the top bar, left bar.
Yeah.
Look at the queries. It has created the. But before we move forward, in the collection, go to the nodes API. Because we are going to write a lot of, let's create an authorization type.
Yeah,
API
the
key.
API key. And I need to copy the API key.
Yes. But we have to give it a name, specific name also.
Don't need to direct copy paste.
Yes, you can directly copy paste, but the name will be x-API-key.
Okay. So this would be the value and this would be the nodes-API-
No. X-API-key.
X.
Yes.
So why we use X?
Because this is a header. This is going into the header.
Okay. Is there anything to save this?
I think it automatically saves. I think so.
Okay. Let's try.
Now these are the queries. In the notes, go to the notes tab. Notes API.
Sir, we are in the Nodes API.
Yes. And go to the test tab. Click on the Notes API. Now go back to the test, I think. I think we are doing something wrong.
Okay, once more again. This is I'm here. Do I need to click to validate?
I think the problem is that you are not in the collection.
I guess it's a run test.
No, you are not in the collections. You are in the APIs. Look at the leftmost tab.
Okay. We are in the
Look
collection.
at the post query, the third one. Not the third one on the left, the second column.
This one and this one.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Now paste the URL in here on the top.
This is the key.
Not here. Not the key.
Sorry. I just
Copy the URL from there.
yes, sir. I'm trying to copy, but I don't know why.
Because you're copying it here, put it in the URL field on the top. With two curly braces in the URL. Yes. Remove the whole thing. Now you are copying the only key. Copy the URL.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm trying to copy the URL, but I don't know why. What is happening here?
Just relax.
Copy and paste. Now it's here. Do I need to click send?
Yes. You are not authorized to use this call. Let's check the headers.
Key is not available, I guess.
Okay, maybe the problem was we didn't save it. Button, press the save button.
So you can see this again.
No, I think the problem is that you save the API key in the APIs, not in the collections.
Okay.
Not here. In the top collections, you are creating a
This one.
yes. It is
Okay.
here.
And it will say test.
No. You are going to the wrong thing. I just have to. The header should come from the collection, but okay, we'll put it here also.
Okay, let's try.
No, I have not tried it by putting it here. Usually, I don't have a problem in putting it in my collection headers. Go back to Notes-API collection. Oh, got it.
Yes, sir. I guess.
Did you understand?
Yeah, I guess that if I specify x dot dash API key and use it, and I'm sending this is an error, and when I saying this is, then it's, I don't know why it's not accessing this thing from.
Now, the thing is, let's check it again. Go back to Notes-API collection.
Okay, I'm here. This is the authorization. This is the API.
Maybe the key, maybe the API key, header.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, query parameters, maybe.
No, not query parameter, header.
Okay, header.
Maybe type the value again. Maybe there was some error in copying.
Okay. Okay, then go. No key.
There's we are making some mistake, but that doesn't matter. I was just
until unless we specify key here, it didn't have. Okay. So that's it.
Anish, explain it. Explain the whole thing again.
Okay. what main thing is that we have a API call. Okay, this is the API resource that says this is generated by AWS as an endpoint. We have started a Lambda server, so it doesn't specify any IP, anything else. Amazon providing all information automatically. This is the Amazon AWS.com, and this is a subdomain. It's auto-generated subdomain for the API, and this is our project, which is a GraphQL. When we press send button, it also need an API key, which is we have specified. So that key would becomes a part of the header.
Yes.
For the post.
But
So
we are not asked you to do one thing. Click on the body tab. But what query is going in the?
Yeah, the query is going to the query nodes and return the nodes. Now
Yes.
we have to check what does it mean by nodes. So let's move back to our
Schema.
schema, which says that our schema is there, nodes and string. Now we come back to the index point. The index point says that we have a app sync event, and the info field name is this and argument is this. Then we will move back. What has happened? Okay. So now the story starts from here. We have already mentioned that how the API, this is the actual API endpoint. We are saying that when we say query and asking nodes, so it will return an array of string. And the game starts from here, that this state that we are going to create a resolver which says that the query field would be nodes. So what will happen? This is our query resolver, that the for dealing the query and the field name nodes, we will run the Lambda function. The Lambda function is here. It says that create this thing, automatic scalable server, get code from here, and in the code directory, this would be a file and this would be a function. So as we have already aware that in the Lambda, this is the handler that we are talking about.
No,
And it
it's a
says
JS
that,
file. Please click the TS file.
sorry, sir. Okay. This says that when this handler would be called, it will return this thing if the field name would be nodes. So field name is nodes, as because we have mentioned that field name is nodes. That's it. And then everything has been resolved. And the other thing we already mentioned. So this is how this server would work. So this is just only a start, that the example, but we can develop more code against our endpoint, and after the code, of course, the certain endpoint would be exist. For example, if somebody says query and says the nodes, so it will become it will start working on this area, but there may be some other function calls, maybe some other function for further processing. So I hope that the people who are aware about the some server basic logic could able to understand how this thing is working. This is
Yes.
fine enough. If I compare with the last week, a lot of things is clear very much, because now we have created a server that actually responding anything over the internet, over the web. And for calling this, we need to provide two things. One is the key, which is already specified. If you can see that when we complete, we have provided two things. This is our function API, and this is the key. So two things would be provided. So using that key and that function, it would be automatically available over the AWS. Just for the information, I want to tell you that this Lambda function always try to create certain things, which is a Node.js function automatically without creating anything using the GUI. And once it is created, it would be saved in a cache. Whenever we'll call it next time, it would be available, served, and then go back to the cache on a sleep mode. So only the charges will be occurred when we were consuming that server. Am I right, sir?
Yes. Now what we are going to do is we are going to end this class today, and next class we are going to use DynamoDB and to store the information. And if we have time in the next class, we will also cover the how to use the Apollo client to connect to. Right now we used Postman, and in the next class we will use, if we have time, the Apollo client. Thank you, everyone. Talk to you guys later.
Last question.
Yes.
Sir, what is the role of AppSync? Can you please summarize it once again?
Yes, the role of AppSync.
AppSync tool.
The AppSync basically is a GraphQL server. The query you have sent is basically received by AppSync, parsed and handled by AppSync. And then the data source file of Lambda function is called. Everything is done by AppSync in GraphQL queries.
Okay, fine. So actually the AppSync is a parser which actually try to understand what is given in the query, and it is fine. It will execute our server functions and method on the behalf of the query.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. I will share the chat data in the description also. So if you are watching this window, YouTube, this video on the YouTube, you will need to review the description area where the chat would be available. So you can copy paste the code yourself if you want to follow these codes. Thank you very much.